Hey, New Life, it's Pastor Steve. Coming to you on a Monday afternoon. Summer is here and I'm loving it. I don't particularly love mowing my lawn in this heat, but other than that, I love the warm weather. But I just want to share something with you. We had just a really good time in worship on Sunday, and I came off the stage and I went down to sit next to my wife, and she she's used to me getting settled in and everything, and she turns to me and says, "Are you okay?" And I said, actually, I didn't realize how deep I was kind of in personally until I came off the stage. I kind of had to still come down from where I was. And sometimes we can go deeper into worship than we realize, but most of the time it happens through an intentional act of just giving all of yourself in worship. And that's what I want to talk to you today about, giving all of yourself in worship. One of the best examples I can think of in the Bible of someone who just gives themselves completely over to the Lord in worship is King David. I mean, David is a worshiper. He's such an interesting person to me in the Bible because he carries so many things on him. I mean, he's a king, he's a warrior, he's a psalmist, a worshiper. He's basically the lineage of Jesus. It's from his root that Jesus draws his kingly, lineage and everything. So it's just, David's just such an amazing person to me. And, in spite of his prowess as a warrior and as his ability to be kingly and to rule, he never loses his soft heart for the presence of God. And there's this one instance of it happening in 2 Samuel chapter 6. It's when they're bringing the Ark of the Covenant into Jerusalem, and it says that David is dressed like a priest. He puts on the priestly garment and wears the ephod, is something that the priest would wear, and he dances before the Lord with all his might. Now, me personally, I'm not a dancer. I mean, that's not something I feel comfortable doing in public. I don't feel like I have skill in that area at all. And, to know that people would be watching me do that would make me totally uncomfortable, which I'm sure all of you can, or most of you can relate to. However, in private, I have danced before the Lord, and even in public, it was in dance, which I think I've shared this testimony a couple times before. There was a service that I was at where I chose to dance before the Lord, and I feel like I had a real personal breakthrough with the Lord in that night that to this day is still bearing fruit. But what I wanted to talk about was, Saul's wife Michal saw him, basically dancing with all his might before the Lord, and when he comes in to the palace, she confronts him on it and says, what do you think you're doing? You're a king. You're behaving ridiculously. People are not going to respect you. And David says, yeah, I know what I was doing. We're going to pick up right there in 2 Samuel 6, verse 22. He says, yes, and I am willing to look even more foolish than this, even to be humiliated in my own eyes. But those servant girls you mentioned will indeed think I am distinguished. And that last line there, because his wife was saying, the servant girls that saw you behaving like that are not going to respect you. They're going to, think less of you. And he says, but even in their eyes, I'm going to become more distinguished. What I think sometimes we don't realize that David understood, and that we have to learn to understand, is most people, when they see a person giving themselves completely in worship and just recklessly abandoning themselves, even though it may make them feel uncomfortable, they respect you. They respect that. They respect that someone's willing to put it all out on the table, to lay it all on the field for God. So what I want to say is, David, even though he was kingly, did not think it was beneath him to totally give himself over to the Lord. A lot of times as we get older and as we become adults, we kind of can fall into the trap of viewing things like that as maybe a little naive, a little immature, a little foolish. But David, who knew what a king should do, knew how a king should act. He as a young man served in the palace under King Saul, so he knew what a king should look like. He knew what how a king should handle himself, how he should present himself. And he did still not think, even though he was now in that role, he didn't think that it was beneath him to totally lay it all out, to give everything he had to the Lord. And so I want to warn you and encourage you, do not ever think, don't take yourself so seriously that you think it is below you or not important to leave it all out before the Lord, to give your all, to just totally waste yourself in worship on Him. Number one, you're going to have a connection with God. You're going to go places in God that only people that are willing to do that can go. And number two, instead of people thinking that you're less than, they're actually going to develop a respect for you, because it's easy to watch from the sidelines when someone else is putting themselves out there, and most people respect those who are willing to put themselves out there, and not to get attention, but to just say, hey, I'm laying it all out. I'm leaving it all in the field. When I walk away, I will have given God everything. David did not think, he did not take himself or his position so seriously that he thought it was beneath him to give all he had to God. And just over and over, if you study his life in the Bible, even though he made some serious mistakes, he always comes back to, you know what, I want to give God my all. I don't want to give God anything that doesn't cost me anything. So when we're in worship, when we're raising our hands, when we're singing and everything, remember to give your all to God, to leave it all on the field, so to say. You'd be surprised what that will open up for you in your spiritual walk. And you will also be surprised how much respect those around you will gain for you. It's not the reverse. Like Saul thought that David was actually diminishing himself in others' eyes, and he understood, no, they're going to think me more dignified when I do this. Because he understood that leading through example is the best kind of leadership of all. I hope that blesses you guys. Have a great week. Try to stay cool in this weather, but also just come ready to worship on Sunday. God bless you guys. Love you. Bye.